Hey guys, it's Sheri Vegas here, and today I'm going to show you how to fix one of the most common resin mistakes that we all make. As you can see, when my resin's dried, I've got a few divots in my board. This can be caused by a few things, whether you've got any sort of contaminants before you pour your resin, so like any oils, silicones, anything like that. But don't worry, it is really easy to fix. What I'm doing to start with is wiping alcohol all over my board to take off any contaminants that may have caused the divots in the first place. Once you have completely wiped your board of alcohol, then you just need to get some sandpaper and go over the entire surface, just giving it a little bit of tooth and taking away that really smooth surface. You don't need to use a rough sandpaper. A really fine sandpaper is perfect for the job. The reason why we're going over with the sandpaper is just to give it a little bit of tooth. Resin works better when it's got something to grip to than over a really smooth surface, so you don't want your second layer of resin to not adhere properly. Now you need to just wipe off the resin dust particles, making sure that you have a really clean board to work with. You can also wear a face mask and goggles when you are sanding back, just because you don't want any of the resin dust in your mouth or in your eyes. Another tip to make sure you get a perfect resin pour every time is to measure your resin. A lot of people say that they just eyeball it, but that's not accurate enough for when you're working with resin, so a measuring jug is a definite. I also wipe out the inside of all of my measuring jugs before I pour the resin with my alcohol, just because I don't know what contaminants have gotten in there in between the times that I've used it previously, so it's always good to just give it a bit of a clean before you do pour your resin in. All you need to do now is give your resin a really good mix, making sure that both parts are thoroughly combined. You don't want to have one part that doesn't combine properly, because then your resin won't set. So now I'm just pouring the resin onto the top of my board. Resin is self-leveling, so as long as your board is level, it should apply evenly over the surface. Just help your resin along by spreading it across the top of the surface. Your resin will then go into the little divots that you want to cover, and once your resin has dried, you should have a nice even layer. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, go and check me out. It's just Sheri Vegas, as I post little videos that don't make my YouTube channel. Once you've poured your new layer of resin, just go over the top with a blowtorch, really lightly and evenly, not keeping the torch in one spot for too long because you don't want to burn your resin. You just want to pop the little bubbles that resin can create. As you can see now, I've got a nice even layer of resin with no little divots, and you can't even tell that I had them before. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe, as I post new art tutorials every week.